Bridging the Gap is a research project which has been trying to understand what the value of the arts and humanities are to a range of different sectors. If there is value, how do you unlock that value for, say, the creative economy, or for the heritage industry, or for communities across the South West region and Wales?
So at Durham Park we invited academics but also museum professionals from the South West region and South East Wales. We also invited people from national organisations like Historic England, and everyone came together to discuss a really pressing problem for many heritage properties in the UK, and especially ones run by the National Trust. A lot of those properties are wealthy and funded on the spoils of empire. Further research could enable the National Trust and other organisations to address that heritage.
So actually coming outside of the university and into somewhere that's really trying to deal with that and confront that painful legacy is really important.
Actually talking to people from different perspectives was really making me think about it in different ways, and talking to some of the heritage people really gets me thinking about, okay, how do we communicate this to a public today?
I know a lot about certain areas, but often if you talk to academics, if you work with academics, then you get a much broader picture, and they can come in with their specialisms and just give a much bigger picture to work with.
We can really benefit from working with academics who are specialists in all sorts of different topics and periods, and work together, collaborate to create more meaningful and richer interpretations that really benefit our members and our visitors.
At the University of Bath we ran a workshop where we invited academics, their partners that they've been working with, but also funders, to discuss the roles that this kind of collaborative work is playing for those different communities.
I really welcome today's workshop because it's a chance to look at some examples of really good recent and current best practice.
Really interesting to get both an academic's perspective on the impacts of the policy that we put in place, but also some of the perspectives from some of the potential partners as well.
It's incredibly stimulating working with the people who are using the languages and seeing how we do this. Working with artists, working with people in professions such as translation or interpreting, that's exciting because it's exactly where my research gets stretched.
I think the research has to reach the general public ultimately to be really meaningful.
We were really experimenting with the idea of researchers in situ. So what happens if you bring a bunch of people out of their libraries and you kind of throw them together into a landscape? What sorts of things happen and emerge, if you like, in the interaction between a bunch of disciplines and a place?
Any landscape is an extremely complicated mixture of ecology, culture, and history. It consists of a series of layers, it's wonderfully intertwined, but as well as that, this landscape is inhabited by stories. And I think our job as environmental historians is to locate those stories, to find those stories in the landscape.
I think getting out into the lived and worked environment gives you a really interesting space in which to reflect on how your discipline matches up or encounters or collides with other disciplines and other ways of thinking.
One of the things we've been really struck by is the need to have a very diverse set of ways of working. So rather than thinking that there's just one single way of working and one funding model that enables that, actually to have different ways of working within a much longer term perspective.
I think one thing that we've uncovered is really that these relationships are very important in their own right, and that current funding models don't really allow those relationships to be sustained across time. It seems imperative that the value of those relationships is realised through different kinds of funding models, not only through giving more money or through giving money over a longer period of time, but there are also ways in which the structures of those relationships can be altered so that the lasting effects of the collaboration can be felt both in the university and in the partner institution.
I think Bridging the Gap has shown that there's already some great examples of partner working. It feels like there's a lot of potential that remains untapped within this region, which can be released for the mutual benefit of both universities and for their partners, but also I think for wider society.